So in today's video, we're gonna talk about offers. Having the right offer is the difference between making $500 per client and making $5,000 per client. But here's the thing, it has nothing to do with your credentials, your skill set. None of the things that you think lead to making more money per client actually matter. It's not about the skills, it's about the way you package your skill set and the way you communicate it to your clients in a way that makes them want to buy. So in today's video, I'm going to give you the offer principles that you can use to turn your commodity, product, or service into an offer that people are willing to pay $5,000 or more for. And I know this works because I've used it to help my clients get from 10K to 40K per month in 12 months or less using these principles. And I've also personally made millions of dollars with the strategies I'm about to teach you in this video as well. Okay, so there's going to be 7 different components to an offer that sells well. So there's going to be the promise, there's going to be the time frame, there's going to be scarcity, then there's urgency, and last you're going to have your pricing, you're going to have the deliverables of the offer, and then you're going to have the terms and guarantees. And so those are the 7 components of the offer that we're going to walk through, and 7 minutes from now you'll have everything you need to charge $5,000 per client. So the most important thing about your offer is the promise. So people aren't just buying what you do, they're buying the outcome, the transformation that is going to occur when you give them the money. So if you have a compelling promise, it's the reason why you could take something that you would normally sell for $500 and sell it for $5,000 instead. So let's take a look at a good promise and a bad promise for you to see the difference between the two, right? So let's talk about a bad promise. So let's say you're a gut health coach, and a bad promise could be something like, I'm going to coach you on your gut health, right? It's not talking about what happens after you get the gut health coaching. And so a good promise is something like this. In the next 90 days, I'm gonna help you get rid of painful body inflammation by using my gut health protocol. And you're gonna be able to do this without using any prescription drugs, right? So you notice how that's focused on the outcome and the transformation. So a lot of coaches or freelancers, they talk about what they do. They don't talk about what their product or service does. So if you talk about the outcomes that your offer is going to provide for your clients, they're way more likely to give you money. And the more specific you are, the better. The more specific you are about the type of people you help, the more specific you are about the timeline with which the outcome is going to occur, the more specific you are about the mechanism that you're going to use to help them get the result, it's going to help you get the right kind of clients who look at your offer, think it's just for them, and they're willing to pay you that money in order to get the problem solved. So here's the formula that you can use to put together your offer. So you say, I help specific type of person get specific measurable outcome in specific time frame without painful thing they want to avoid. And so that formula gives you a specific promise attached to what you sell that's going to make people want to buy. But this next part and the remaining 6 components are all important to get solved. So stick around because you need every single piece of these offer components for it to work. So the next part you want to focus on is the time frame. You want to be specific about how long it's going to take your client to get the result. And so for example, if you are trying to help somebody lose weight, you want to have a timeline that seems achievable, but it's also quick, right? So you want to balance that quickness of the result, but also not make it so quick that it's unbelievable. So let's say you're helping someone with their fitness, you could make a promise like, I'm going to help you lose 20 pounds in the next 90 days, right? So 20 pounds in 90 days is a pretty dramatic shift in weight loss, but it's also something somebody could wrap their head around. So if you say, I'm going to help you lose 100 pounds in 90 days or 100 pounds in a week, they're not going to believe you. But you want to have that combination of the timeline that's appealing and the timeline that's something that they can actually wrap their heads around. So usually when I work with clients, I tell them to put the time frame of their offers around 90 days. Because 90 days is something that someone can wrap their head around as a long enough amount of time to actually achieve a certain result, but not taking forever to achieve the result at the same time. So you want to be real specific, and it can change based on your niche or who you're working with, but you just want to find the optimal time frame in a way that's easy to see the result happening, but also realistic enough that they believe it's going to occur. And the next part is scarcity, right? So it's kind of basic supply and demand, right? If a resource is scarce, more people are going to want it. The demand is going to go up. So often, a lot of the times, the reason why people can't sign clients is that they seem open and available all the time. So there's no reason for the client to want to sign up in a way that's going to kind of speed up the process. But scarcity can do this, right? So when it comes to scarcity, what you want to do is limit the spots of people who can work with you. And the way to do it ethically and honestly is to simply do it based on your actual capacity, right? So there's a certain level that you wouldn't be able to take on new clients. There's a certain level where you would be at your capacity to work. So state that and make that a part of your offer. Say, hey, I'm only working with 3 clients this month. And so if you want to get your spot secured, you have to sign up now. So adding scarcity is one of the key psychological principles that works. Robert Cialdini, in his book Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, one of the best persuasion books I've ever read, talks about that principle. That scarce resource is going to get people to want to sign up. And so scarcity is really good, but then when you combine it with this next factor in the offer, it's extremely potent. And so the next component is going to be urgency. You have to give people a reason to act now. You'd think that just because your offer solves a specific problem and it's a painful problem, that people are just going to want to jump on it and take action, but people move slowly. People don't solve their problems right away. They procrastinate, they hesitate. They're always kind of looking for a reason to procrastinate and hesitate. And that's why you have to give them a reason to act fast. And this is where urgency comes in, right? So on top of something like capping your spots, you could add a deadline to when people can sign up so that they have to move faster. You could do things like, after these 3 spots filled, I'm going to raise my prices, right? So there's a real incentive for them to act now as opposed to later. So you want to put that incentive in there because you want to speed your prospects up, right? So the people you're working with, they need your help, but they also need your help being nudged toward that decision. So putting urgency on your offer is a really great way to speed up your prospects and get them to buy faster. And the next thing we're going to talk about is the price. So if you want to charge $5,000 or more for your offer, which is usually where I start my clients around, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per client is sort of the base that we start with. In order for you to justify that price, and this is kind of the psychology behind high ticket offers, you just want to make sure that the value or the output of your work is going to be far in excess of that price. So for example, I have multiple clients who are career coaches and they charge thousands of dollars for their offers. But the thing is, they're helping people get jobs that are going to add an additional $20, $30, $40, $50,000 to their salary, or they're going to help people get jobs who currently don't have one, and that's a significant financial lift. So if at any time you can make it seem like you hand me $5K and you're going to get back $30, $40, $50K, well, people are going to take that bet every single time, right? Same thing with B2B stuff. Like if you're working with a business, and this is why it's important with B2B to actually work with profitable businesses who have cash flow. So if there's a business who's already healthy, but if you help them with their marketing, it's going to add an extra $100,000 to their bottom line. They're happy to pay you a portion of that. $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000, if you generate that much value, is a steal to them. So you want to think about how can you add value in a way that makes $5K seem insignificant. So sometimes it's money. Other times it could be emotional and well-being related reasons, right? So I also have multiple clients who are mental health practitioners and they charge $5,000 or more for their offers because the toll of dealing with some of these mental health challenges, I mean, think about it. How much is your peace of mind and sanity worth, right? So even if it's not a tangible ROI, there's often an intangible ROI, and there could still be ways it can be extrapolated out into financial reasons, right? So one of my clients, she's a therapist turned kind of anxiety performance coach, and she works with really successful entrepreneurs and she helps them fix their anxiety problems so that they can make more money, right? So there's lots of different ways to look at it, but you want to make sure that there's value associated with what you do that's far in excess of $5K, which makes it easy to charge $5,000, and people will pay for things if it's worth it. Then this part, we have the deliverables. It's the things they actually get. So a big portion of the offer is, okay, what do I literally get in exchange for the money? And the biggest mistake I see a lot of people make when they're trying to build out their offers is they try to cram too many things into the offer. They try to make the deliverables the focus when the outcome is the focus. So like if you're doing a coaching offer, you don't need to do a bunch of one-on-one calls or add a bunch of extra worksheets, templates, all these things. You just need to have enough deliverables that will command the result. So a lot of times I work with clients and they'll be working closely one-on-one with people, but then we'll transition, we'll help them build a group program, and the deliverables deliverables will change, right? It'll go from a one-on-one format to group format. And then maybe some of the stuff that they were doing one-on-one, we can handle sort of asynchronously, but it still gets the results. I've often had people who went from one-on-one to group and we kept the price the same, even though we went to one-to-many, right? So that's how nailing your deliverables is going to help. And so all you want to think about is, what deliverables can I add in a way that's actually going to add value? So maybe you take out a whiteboard and you write down, okay, what is everything I could do to help my clients get results? And then you look at that list and you narrow it down to, what are the things that could have like a really big impact across all of my clients? And maybe it is something that I might have to invest time and energy and resources into building, but sort of the marginal cost of continuing to build it out isn't expensive, right? And so that's like creating internal resources and things for your clients. So when it comes to the deliverables, my main piece of advice is just to not overdo it. And then last, we have the terms and guarantees, right? So if you want to help more clients feel comfortable, it could be valuable for you to add a guarantee. It could be valuable for you to say, if this doesn't work, there is a condition set to that, right? So it could be a money back guarantee, right? Where if I don't get you the result, you get the money. Or it could be I'll work with you until you get the result, right? So let's say your offer is helping people get a job in 90 days. Let's say they're on the cusp of getting the job in 90 days, but they're just not quite there yet. You say, okay, like I'll keep working with you for free until you get the job, right? So there's money back guarantees. There are I'll work with you for free guarantees until you get the result. There are terms and conditions, right? So for example, in my offer, I make the offer that if you don't at least double the money that you make working with me, I'll give you all your money back. But there are terms and conditions associated with that, meaning that you have to actually implement and run the system that I give you. And so those are important as well. So you have to have terms associated with what is required on their end in order to facilitate the result. And then you can have guarantees and things associated with that. So that is the entire process. You could quite literally use that to build out your offer and bring it out into the world. But here's the thing. A lot of the times, just understanding the bird's eye view of what an offer looks like isn't necessarily enough to get you the result. And so often it takes working back and forth with someone who understands offers, as well as showing you how to roll it out into the real world. That can be really beneficial when it comes to selling those 5K packages. So if you're interested in building a high ticket offer that you can sell for $5,000 or more, go to the link in the description and book a call with me. We're going to talk about your skill set. We're going to talk about how to package it into an offer. And if and only if I think you have a skill set that can be packaged into an offer that you could sell for $5,000 or more, I will invite you to work with me in order to facilitate that result. So again, if you're interested, go to the link in the description, fill out your details, and I will speak with you one-on-one about how to build a business with an offer that you can charge a lot of money for.